We will be going through the Freeway book a little bit, kind of why we're doing this, what our hopes are for the 7 weeks that we'll have with our folks. We've had a good response so far in terms of the number of people that have joined either existing groups or joined and created a new group. So all of that is working well. So we want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for joining us, for volunteering to be a host and to help others. And part of this will be to kind of allay your fears, if you have any. So that's part of this as well as we go through it. And again, if you have any questions as we go through it, just feel free to ask me, and I will go through and try and answer. So again, why are we so excited about Freeway? Partially, it gives us an opportunity to bring our congregation together. This is kind of a unifying function in terms of being able to start up some new groups, have some people join a group all at the same time. One of the concerns of people wanting to join a small group is that it's already in progress, everybody knows everybody else, it's just hard to jump into an existing group. We'll also be going through this in the messaging on Sunday mornings and at our services, so all of this will be kind of a coordinated messaging and thinking process to get the congregation kind of focused on how we can grow as a congregation, but grow individually and overcome some of our fears. It also helps us in terms of being able to gain some new understandings and grow in our fellowship as a congregation as well. It's good for small groups. Again, I don't know if you were a part of Transformed last year, Rick Warren said that people join a small group because of the content that they can only get there, but they stay in the small groups because of the relationships that they form. So this is a process where we want to get more of the congregation engaged, participating, growing, meeting other people, helping each other grow and developing new friendships and growing relationships. It also helps the small groups as we reinforce each other through praying for each other, sharing our concerns, and just kind of loving each other within the group. So I have a quick video. This is the kind of a general video. You may have seen it before. It's only 2 minutes long, so we'll just take a quick look at it.
Life doesn't always play nice. The job fizzles, the kids are bouncing off the walls, the cat dies. You start thinking to yourself, hey God, this isn't what I signed up for. Freeway is a small group study that helps us share our not-so-perfect stories. And whether our struggles could fill up the entire Pacific Ocean or just a tiny teacup, it's time to find hope in tough times. Freeway takes us through 6 life-changing steps. Step 1, we'll learn how to escape the rat race and hear God's voice. Step 2, we'll confront that 800-pound bully called fear and his ugly twin brother called insecurity. In step 3, we'll stop being people pleasers and take ownership of our life. In step 4, we'll earn a PhD in the art and science of forgiving people, including ourselves. In step 5, we'll learn how God wants to throw a party for one of his favorite people in the universe. Hint, that person's name starts with Y and ends with OU. And finally, step 6, you'll discover your purpose and how you're rescued to become a rescuer. So, what do you need to do Freeway? First, you'll need the amazing Freeway workbook. Secondly, you'll need a group, 2, 4, or 10 people. Size doesn't matter. Together, you'll share, laugh, and discover that our not-so-perfect stories are a lot alike. So you might be wondering, do I have to be a Bible Einstein to lead a Freeway group? Heck no. You just have to organize some group details, ask a few questions, and boom, you're ready to rock it. From New York to LA, from Sydney, Australia to London, England. Tens of thousands of people just like you have gone through Freeway, and now it's your turn. Freeway, a not-so-perfect guide to freedom. For more info, videos, and insightful tips, make sure to check out secondchance.org.
So again, that's kind of the trailer to get people interested in it. This is the page in the book that talks about what the different sections are. So if you look in your workbook, let's see, it should be towards the front here. It's going to be before that. Of course, there's no page number on it. It's way in the front. Yeah, there's no particular page number, so it makes it a little challenging. It looks like it's about page 4-ish. But these are the different headings. So the first week is kind of a get-together, an icebreaker session, kind of talk about what's coming, and then each of the different steps are a chapter in the book, and you can see that they're kind of broken out in a very similar format. So there's a prepare, explore, share, jump in, and remember. So that's in each of the different weeks, each of the different sections, so there's some consistency in how we learn these materials. Any questions? So in terms of being a host, you don't have to be an expert. Like the video said, you don't have to know everything about the Bible or know Freeway or anything like that. The thought is that you coordinate the meeting, you facilitate discussion, which is really the key part. The two extremes of a small group are, especially the first week, nobody wants to talk because they're not sure if there's confidentiality or not. And that's a key thing for any small group, is establishing the confidentiality of what we say here stays here. So you have the extreme that nobody wants to talk, or the other extreme where one or two people like monopolize the whole conversation and other people aren't getting a chance to talk. So you kind of monitor that and kind of nicely in a loving way kind of control that and encourage people to talk that aren't talking, and kind of talk with people typically privately if they're monopolizing, and just say, we'd really like what you're saying, but let's give some of the other folks a chance to talk. So that's one aspect of it, which sometimes people are concerned about. You just have to care, and part of the caring is just having a good environment for the meeting to take place. However you do that, wherever you want to meet, if it's in a living room or whatever, just making sure that it's kind of set and people are able to see each other and kind of communicate. And then decide with your group who has what responsibilities. There's kind of, if there's refreshments, you can provide those or somebody can bring them. In terms of leading a discussion, there may be other people that have had experience doing that or would like to help out, and so you can share that with them. And if you want, and the group is capable, you could even rotate where you meet. And then that way you don't have the burden of preparing each week for the group to get together. So it's up to you and your group as to who does what. But the thought is it's always good to share responsibility if you can. Any questions on that? Okay. So now we're going to look at where online is everything at. And you're probably aware that back in July we signed on with Right Now Media, and they have over 14,000 videos online. So I'll kind of walk you through how to get online, how to get access to Right Now Media, how to find Freeway, and then how to show the videos. So we'll kind of do that a step at a time. If we go to trinityroselle.com, and let me give you a couple of handouts here that have some of these URLs so you don't have to write them all down. There you go. And it'll have a kind of a summary of what I'm about to say. So if we go to our own website, trinityroselle.com, it'll take just a second. What we'll see once it gets loaded is a couple things. It hasn't finished yet. So we want to see this Right Now Media button, which is right here, right in the kind of top middle as we look at this page. If you click on that, it'll take you to Trinity's Right Now page. And this is where you can log in, if you have a login, or request access. So if you don't currently have access to Right Now Media, then you're able to go in, request it there, and then you'll get access to it. Let's quit that for now, get rid of some of these noisemakers. So once you do that, you can create a shortcut, if you will, to the Right Now site, which is what I'm going to click on now, or you can log in on this page and go to it. I find it a little faster to go here.
What does logging in?
They'll ask you for a name and a password that you create for yourself. That's just to keep everybody out except for the people that have access. Since they do charge Trinity for this, the people as a part of Trinity don't have to pay anything, but Trinity does. So it's just to kind of control access. So logging in is just providing a name and a password. Once you have done that, you can create, if you go under bookmarks, usually there's add bookmark and you can just save a page and go directly to it. You don't have to do that. We can talk a little more afterward to kind of reinforce that.
Is everybody in the group supposed to do this?
Yeah, it's a good thing. We can, sure. So the question is everybody in the group supposed to do this? You can decide whether there's two ways you could do this class. There's probably more, but two main ways. One is you could have everybody watch videos before, the week before you come in to meet, and then just come in and discuss them. Or you can actually show the videos and then discuss them while you're all together. So that would be a question for your group, is which would you prefer? Once you get to right now, there's a search, kind of this little magnifying glass here for search. So if we click on that, and then go over here and we type in Freeway, it takes you to this page. This is just kind of a overview to make sure this is what you're looking for. When you want to see the videos, you go to Watch Now, and Watch Now will take you to the page that actually has the videos down here. So we're going to watch this one. This is another short video.
They say the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Well, you and I, we were meant to be free. And now God invites you to a soul-shaking, chain-breaking, life-giving adventure with your closest friends. We will share our stories of struggle and bravely explore the uncharted places of our soul. We will do this together and promise one another we won't stop until we are free. Liberation awaits. Today, freedom calls out your name. This is the way, the new way to be free.
So the videos play in the same window, and then you could just go to different things here. So What is Freeway was the other video that we saw. Introduction would be the one for the first week, and then each of these others are different chapters or steps in the Freeway process. So the nice thing is it gives you an idea of how long they are, so you can watch them here. The question would become, typically you would watch these as a group. The best way would be if you had a way to, like if you had Netflix, I'm not assuming that you do, that would be easy. If you do, you can get the streaming channel for Right Now Media, and if you've already done your setting up your name and password, then you should be able to connect through whatever you're using to get to Netflix as another channel. So think of, we have different channels on our TV that we change the knob to. We don't actually literally do that anymore, but we have NBC, we have ABC. Well, similarly, over the internet, you have different channels like Netflix, like Right Now Media and other things, and you just tell basically your TV set to look at that channel, and then it makes that connection. So these are the different session videos. If we go back into our presentation, what we'll see when we go to the next one is there are some very short, typically 4 or 5 minute long videos for leaders to kind of give you an overview and some quick tips for each week. I think this URL or this internet address is in the handout. So it's secondchance.media Is it there? Do you see that somewhere? It is there. Okay, good. So I'm going to click on it, just like if you had typed this into your computer along the top there. This takes you to Second Chance is the name of the company that produced Freeway. So this is theirs. I should have clicked remember me, but again, you need this just once. You create a name, which is your email address, and a password, and then you just sign in. And then if we scroll down a little bit, we have Freeway Leader Videos. So we have this one, which is kind of a more in-depth overview of what Freeway is and how it's presented in the workbook, and best ways or best practices for delivering the message or watching the video with your group. They have a book tour, which is another one. If you wanted more, if you find the book kind of the way it's laid out or the different things it asks to do, this goes through and kind of explains it a little bit better in terms of how best to use the book. So both of those are relatively long, so I'll leave those for you to watch at your own convenience. The first one's 13 minutes, the other is 11. You just watch them once and then you have it. But I will show you the first video for the first week. This is step 1. So the first week, again, is kind of an overview. This is the first step. So this would actually be the second week of the 7. And we'll watch this video, just to give you an idea of what it looks like.
Hi, I'm Mike Foster from People of the Second Chance, and I'm here with Jason Jaggard. And one of the very first steps to experiencing freedom in our lives is to become more aware. And a lot of times we have things in our lives that we just don't see. Maybe there's hurts, there's things in our past, our story, that we just don't recognize are there. And they're actually having a really big influence in how we see the world and our relationships and our friendships and how we operate in our family. So, Jason, one of the keys of becoming more aware is to discover our blind spots and be able to see those blind spots. What are some tips, or what's maybe the first thing in terms of dealing with blind spots that you would recommend?
Yeah, the first thing, what comes up for me when you ask me that question is acknowledging that people I know are going to watch this and they're going to laugh, because I have lots of blind spots that they know about that I don't know about. And here we are talking about blind spots.
And me too. I'm with you on that.
No, not you.
Actually, you know most of my blind spots.
And I have not told you. So that's good news to acknowledge that everybody's got blind spots. That doesn't matter how successful you are or who you are, we all have them. It's one of the few things that we all have in common. And that's nice news in terms of just creating a safe space for us to acknowledge we got these.
Yeah. So in terms of talking about these blind spots, just recognizing that we all have them.
Yeah.
And that it is okay to talk about them. But I'm guessing in terms of when we're working with people or leading our group or meeting with a friend at Starbucks, probably a tactic we want to avoid is coming in and saying, here is your blind spot.
Yes.
Right? That's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, and as a leader, and you've probably had experience with this, it's not a great idea to come in and show people their blind spots. I love 30 Rock, and Jack Donaghy was having a conversation with Liz Lemon, and he said, be careful about waking up a sleepwalker, Liz, because you're going to get peed on. And that's what happens when you try to give someone self-awareness when they're not asking for it. And so with this conversation, it's important to acknowledge it's not your job to make someone self-aware. It's your job to create space for people to discover self-awareness.
Yeah, and I think you can really begin the conversation around just talking about our lives. And because a lot of times the way that we cover our pain or avoid dealing with some of these issues is through distraction and noise and the busyness of life. And maybe that's a good place to start in terms of the conversation. But I also think, Jason, just establishing trust. Like, this is the beginning of a journey with people, and creating that space and letting people know that that you're not there to judge them, you're not there to try to fix them, that you're just wanting to create a trusting relationship to have these conversations.
Yeah, I love that. And even there are spaces and there are people in your life who you probably could have like a hard conversation with about their blind spots. But my guess is if you're using this material to invest in your neighbors or your coworkers, that there might not be that trust there. And so this is just an entry-level conversation and the possibility that maybe we might have blind spots.
Yeah. Well, if you want any more tools or tips or watch some more video resources about how you can connect with people and begin to experience this journey of freedom, visit potsc.com for more resources.
So that would be the video that is not for everybody else in the group, but for you guys, for the leaders. So again, they hit the highlights. They try to make sure you're aware of any situation that could either offend somebody or cause somebody's to be upset or to feel hurt in some way. So all of this is available online at the URL that's on the handout there, or the one I just showed previously before we went to it. So we're going to jump back into the presentation. Also in your book is group leader tips. I believe it's on like the page or two after that. Yeah. So there's 7 different things that you can look at before the first meeting. Once you do that, the group will kind of set up what they're comfortable with, and you can, again, discuss with them who is responsible for what. Basically, like it says, organize the time and group. The recommendation would be, if you can, to watch the weekly video before you show it, just so you kind of know what's in it. Look over the materials in the book, because part of it will be to go through the book. And then if you have time, look at the leader video that's going to give you the tips as well. And those 3 ways of going through it will help you to really be prepared for when people come in. Now, it doesn't mean you have to answer every single question, because there's going to be questions that you may not be able to. And so that's what we're going to look at next, is where do you go if you have a question, or what if you have a situation of some sort, if you need some additional help. So one of the things we're going to do is to set up a Freeway hosts group on the city, so you can ask a question to other hosts and also to the coordinators that are on staff at Trinity. So if you haven't joined the city, here's the URL, trinityroselle.onthecity.org/kiosk is a way to request access and get on the city. I believe Carol Arco will be creating a group for the hosts, and she will kind of monitor that. So that is one way. Other things to do, if you go to secondchance.media/store, blah, 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 again, that should be in the handout. That's where the leader videos are. They also have some other information that's available online. Again, Second Chance, the POTSC, People of the Second Chance, that was the URL he referenced a second ago, but Second Chance is the name of the organization that produced Freeway, and they have some additional support there. If you would like someone to call, you can call the church office. We have 3 great coordinators for Freeway at Trinity. So we have Rajeen, Carol, or Lanny, and they are available at 630-894-3263, or even easier, if you go to freeway@trinityroselle.com, which is an email address, you can just type your question in there and somebody will respond to it. So again, these are additional places to get some assistance if you need it with your group, or about the materials, or if you need more materials or things like that. This is where you can go to get help. So any questions on that?
I know that these studies should coordinate with the Sunday sermon, I'm assuming. When should we start? Should we start this coming week or the following, or what do you suggest?
So the question is, when do you actually begin your first meeting? And it will be after this Sunday. This Sunday is September 18th. That's the first day of the week that kicks off. So any time in the week after that first time, that would be your first group meeting, which is the overview session. So this Sunday kind of will kick things off for the church and our congregation. And again, this isn't just for congregation members. If you have family members or neighbors or coworkers or acquaintances, feel free to invite them as well. It's very non-threatening in terms of the kind of the spiritual level you're coming in at. So this would be a good thing to do, especially the first week again, so they're coming in new, as is everybody else in the group. But this is an outreach possibility, and I forgot to mention with the Right Now media that you can invite friends, family, people outside of Trinity that you know, anywhere in the United States that you want, and they can have access too. You would just invite them. Once you get onto Right Now media yourself, you can invite other people. They don't have to be church members or school members. So all that is playing out. So what other questions do you have? I thought this was really clever. Everything you ever want to know about Freeway, but we forgot to mention.
Are you going to talk about this introductory thing, because there's stuff to be read and...
The question is, am I going to talk about the materials in the first session? Wasn't part of this orientation, but I'd be happy to do that after this.
Okay.
Again, the thought is that as you go through the book, you'll get an idea. The different chapters are laid out very similarly. A lot of it is graphical, and again, the graphical sections are typically spots where people are providing information or writing something about themselves. Not necessarily, they don't have to share it if they don't want to, but at least they're sharing it with themselves and kind of looking at, well, what am I like in this area, or what, how would I describe myself, kind of thing.